Now, there was also a doctor in the US who was a specialist in internal medicine. This guy also supposedly had a problem with his liver. He knew what he had to do and what he didn't have to do. And then he came to Ghana. They said they couldn't do a transplant. Nothing was working. Do you know he was sent to this place that he was given red egg, brown egg, and this water that I cannot mention. And all these things were poisonous, and he was dealing with a problem with his liver. Obiko radio so di watem na o kanse manya no kre na o di watem na o saiwo e na wo wie sika enti na yayi wo afri bia wo afri no se mi wie o sika kra o sika nyirai se me fa o me fa o bia dia wa dia nyirai. Forget about them. You see, if you are not very careful, when you have to concentrate on building the state of your heart, you shall concentrate on repairing the state of your heart. Your heart is so strong that men can abuse you, but your heart is intact. They abuse your body, they abuse your strength, they abuse your environment. Don't forget the issue of Job. Everything around him was abused. His skin was abused, his body was abused, his finances were abused, but his heart was intact. What changes the issues of life and gives you positive answers is not the state of your mind, it is the state of your heart.
Keep watching. Mofantulos and TV. Keep watching. Don't change it. Keep watching. Don't change it. Keep watching. Don't change it. And one Lots and TV.
Abusia Oguzua our Lots and TV. And our Power Cathedral. That is Prophet Victor Kusi Boateng Nasori. Okasafa, the state of the heart. The state of the heart. Ochire mo ko wi se. Emfa ho de nipa beyewo. Ni wa betimi atata wo, nipa betimi asori atia wo. But make sure so wakoma be stable. Wakoma enko ye better. So obi ba wabrabo mo mpo. Na se nipa ko no kwa. Me mpa obi me ko. Manenko, but manenfo wakoma nko. Yes, so ultimately protect wakoma. Ekipu wakoma. And no. And na oyenkunim difo na any part of your body, and so betimi aye adwuma you, because it's the heart that holds every other part of the body. Okasa aye pa na nkasa ye mo ma examples bebre ekofa betum mu se doctor bia na nka wono de eja onim bibia onim any treatment de ma oni paduanum akwa no oyare we wantimi an control na koma anya de wo ye tamno fra bro chire baga na afi obeduru na afi kosua kokko kosua brown ene nsuo bi o mpese obebodin ene ye de ma no a papa yi edi free mu a owuye examples bibiri no de ma e o ma Dubai okoya koja na de ho na so still after 6 months then sakaye or cite many examples if akoma and said the akoma sie no nyuma etie na ne nyina pompon so na wi nyina ne se ma akoma enso awrade ani ma akoma enye papa so akoma ye papa enye bi ho a ento da yenko tie Prophet Victor Kusi Boateng.
From the end of the earth will I cry unto thee.
From the end of the earth, David said, I will cry out unto thee.
When my heart is overwhelmed.
He said, when my heart is overwhelmed,
lead me to the rock that is higher than I.
Take over the state of my heart that has driven my whole being to a particular destiny. And he said, when my heart is overwhelmed, take charge and lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Being overwhelmed means when someone is experiencing a feeling of excessive burden, or stress by too many demands of emotions or situations. When you are excessively burdened, and when you are so stressed by demands emotionally and by reason of situations that surround you. So David was telling us that there are times that I get overwhelmed by the conditions of my emotions and the situations that surround me. They become so heavy, they become so tall, they place demand on me and the little energy I have. He said, when my heart is overwhelmed, which obviously reflects in my emotions and reflects in my surroundings, he said, take me out of the equation and lead me to the rock that is higher than I. When the emotional burden comes, it doesn't come to overtake you, it comes to suppress you. When burdens and situations around you come, they don't grow taller than you, they come to your height. If you are 6 foot tall, it comes to your height. If you are 7 foot tall, it comes to your height. If you are 5'9" tall, it comes to your height. If you are 4 foot tall, it comes to your height. And so the Bible said, when my heart is overwhelmed by situations, by emotions, by intellectual restrictions, he said, don't leave me to that. Let there be this rock that is higher than I, which means that there is a rock that is higher than your emotions. There is a rock that is higher than your surroundings. There is a rock that is higher than your situations. He said, my heart shall be overwhelmed, but when it is overwhelmed, take over, oh Lord, take over my life, take over my situation, and lead me to this rock that is far higher than I. I told you last 2 weeks, that your heart is the most important part of your body. Why? Because when your kidneys fail, dialysis can replace it. But when your heart fails, nothing replaces it. When your heart fails, there is no pumping of blood within your internal organs. No oxygen is saturated in your body. Your heart fails and your life dies. Only to realize from the book of Genesis chapter 2 the verse 7. Genesis 2 the verse 7.
Genesis chapter 2 verse 7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
Look at how God put together man, after which the scientists call it the anatomy of the human body. God handcrafted every part of the body. Ladies and gentlemen, I come and I use this medium to challenge anyone that thinks that life was birthed out of evolution, which means that it was not planned, but some way, somehow, it just happened. But when you look at the makeup of man and the human anatomy, and you study how the brain works, you study how the heart works, you study how digestion works, you study the whole human anatomy, you can only conclude that there is something that planned the makeup and the anatomy of the human body. And one of the people I don't really understand most are scientists that doubt the existence of God. Because the more knowledge you acquire, the more convinced your heart comes to a place that there should be an ulterior influence and a higher power. Because, ladies and gentlemen, how can you just eat food in your mouth? And how is it transported from your mouth into your stomach? And how is it transported from your stomach into the bloodstream? And how is oxygen maintained? How are the nutrients distributed in the body? If you look at how the heart, with the size that I spoke to you about, ladies and gentlemen, contain one body. My grandmother died at the age of 106. That blood that was given to my grandmother from day one was the same heart that she lived with until she was 106. Somebody has to be behind this thing, because this thing does not make sense without an ulterior being at work. Do you know that all the sophistications in our world and in our time, there is no engine that is made by man that can live up to 50 years without it being overhauled? Every engine will break down, but some way, somehow, a man lives for 120 years, and that small heart, like the size of my fist, will contain this whole body. People that are tall and short, people that are big and small. That same heart, it should be the same size. If it is bigger than that, they will tell you have an enlarged heart. Somebody sat down, some artist somewhere somehow sat down and determined how the blood should work, and determined how the eye should be sustained, and determined how the brain should work. Somebody was so artistic, and that person must be the Yahweh, the God of the armies of Israel, who created the heavens and the earth. Look at just even the happenings of this earth, ladies and gentlemen, how the rain comes down and how the dew goes up before rain comes down. All these things cannot be coincidences. How the skies were made and how the sun is suspended in the air, ladies and gentlemen, how the moon shows up and how they tell us that the world is going round, ladies and gentlemen, the sun. And how can the world be moving and we are standing where we are standing? There should be a great artist who designed this. This was not just normal. This cannot be just evolution. This has to be somebody with a master plan who monitors this and sets these things into motion. I hear that the most complicated part of the human body is the brain. And I was researching about the brain, and it is so interesting that this could not have been evolution. If it was evolution, there should be some defect some way somehow. There should be some mishap some way somehow. There should have been some shortcomings. But the way we were created perfectly in the image of God, nobody should ever convince you that there is no power behind the scenes. Ladies and gentlemen, when you come even into auditorium and you see how we have transitioned from where the auditorium was to where it is, there should be an architect behind the scenes. Some of you don't know Engineer Richard. Some of you don't know Architect Obulebu. You might not know them, but that does not mean that the moment you come and you see these suspended slabs, it just appeared. There is somebody behind the scenes who you may not know. You may come here and there is a central air condition blowing too much good air, and you think it just happened. It didn't just happen. There is a power behind it, and that power is the power of the I Am. Your heart had life. Your ears had life. He breathed into the nostrils of men, and the Bible says that man became a living soul. The soul of every man is their willpower. The soul of every man is their intellectual ability. Regardless of how strong you are emotionally, regardless of how intellectually you are strong, regardless of how your will is, ladies and gentlemen, without God's spirit, without the heart, the soul dies. The soul only becomes a living being when there is an activation of the spirit, which is your heart. So I told you that your soul is your mind, your your spirit is your heart. Are you following me? So without your heart, your emotions and your soul is empty. That is why I told you last week that the moment somebody stops breathing, he dies physically. He dies physically. But unfortunately, there are a lot of us who are dead and still are alive. Because that spiritual breath of life that is poured into your heart has been relegated, has been neglected. But I am here to talk to you about the state of your heart. I pray that those that are ready to take up their destinies into their whole hands and to stand up and to declare, I shall fulfill God's purpose, shall really understand me that, ladies and gentlemen, your heart is different from your soul, which is your mind. Stand to your feet. Talk to about 5 people. Keep your heart with all diligence. Oh, you can do better. Stand to your feet. Talk to the person you've never spoken to. Tell them, keep your hearts with all diligence. People who diligently work on their heart walk with conviction. It is a matter of the heart. It's not a matter of emotions. The reason why families are breaking down is people get into marriages with their head. Michelle, baby, was a papa. If you was a me, minyabema fufra, memfa way in koda, midi way nebeko. I understand. Maybe some of you are manipulated because when you were going into that, you forgotten that you went with this thing. That is why you failed. If you had gone with this thing, there is nowhere you could fail. Have you ever been through a situation where your feelings said yes, your will said yes, your intellect said yes, but somewhere, somehow, your heart was saying no, your heart was reminding you don't go. Everything looked positive. Your intellect, what you learned, what you Googled, said yes, but you felt in the deep inside of you that it is a no. And you went, and now you can experience a repercussion, and you are blaming the Lord. Don't blame the Lord, blame yourself. Because if you can keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Watch this. The strongest voice for the church is not the prophetic voice. It's not when somebody said that saith the Lord, but the strongest voice is the voice from your spirit, the voice from your heart, which nobody hears. But ladies and gentlemen, nobody may hear it, but you know that somewhere, somehow, God is speaking to my spirit. I pray that there shall be men and women that shall diligently work on their heart. They shall diligently work on their spirit. It is not something that just appears. You've got to work consciously on it. Be diligent in keeping your heart. And I'll continue next week. A heart that has be so solid to an extent that nothing anybody says or does contaminates your heart. Your heart is so strong that men can abuse you, but your heart is intact. They abuse your body, they abuse your strength, they abuse your environment. Don't forget the issue of Job. Everything around him was abused. His skin was abused, his body was abused, his finances were abused, but his heart was intact. What changes the issues of life and gives you positive answers is not the state of your mind, it is the state of your heart. Some of you, your heart is too bitter, your heart is broken, too broken, your heart is too vulnerable, and that is the reason why you can never have any positive outcome. Intellectually, you look so strong, physically you look very strong, but what controls your emotions, what controls your intellect, what controls your body has become so vulnerable. But I pray this morning that God will give you the diligence with which to keep the state of your heart. The second thing, as I build the foundation to my message is that when the Lord tells you, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? When the Lord tells you to keep, it means that there are thieves around. You will not keep your expensive things in your safe if there is no threat of thieves around you. Let me give you an example. One of the safest places to be is Dubai. If you are Dubai, it's almost crime-free. But when you steal and they arrest you, they will cut off your hands and cut off everything that you have. Because of their Sharia law. One day, I was traveling with somebody that was here. And when we were going, Mommy gave me this jewelry that was defected and said I should take it somewhere and fix it for her in Dubai. Because of how busy my schedule was, I could not do it. And so I was coming back to Ghana with it. When they were packing my things from the hotel, I think this gentleman that was packing my things thought that the bag was empty. I didn't put it in my briefcase. So he left it on the cart. So they packed our things in the car and we went. I forgot that I've been sent to go and fix any jewelry. So when I got to Ghana, I came and welcome now. Anna, may you suit me quiet. I'm so why you buying? Oh no, the gold that I gave to you. I said, yeah. Oh, I forgot. I went into my briefcase, went into my hand carriage, did everything, and then I called this gentleman. I said, sir, we came with this jewelry. Mommy gave it to me. It was in such a bag. He said, oh, Papa, I thought there was nothing in. We took all the suitcases and left it on the cart. I said, Mommy, I'm sorry. When I get money, I'll replace it. I'm very sorry. So 6 months after, I went to the same to the same hotel in Dubai. And then when I went there, I went straight to the counter, to the concierge. And I said, I was here some months ago, check on the system, and they realized. And I said, I was here with my children, and we left our jewelry here. They said, describe. I described the jewelry. They said, wait. They found it. That I checked out this time, and that is when they found it. They said, is this what you are looking for? 6 months after. 6 months. Now, Power Chapel, I saw them. Nyamia Yadoma, and not in any CCTV, say, Bobohano, Nakenya Samoa, and I saw them so, here the CCTV, Yadebo, because Obiania Brea, what in the offering, Abato altar, so no, 12 o'clock, no Biswaba, no Raha, Wahia Obianho, now a foul be. Now, some of you don't understand spiritual things. Obiamani who know the whole see that bet one, what the problem, and where we are coffee, I also why you'll be bonnet. One why anybody. So, yes, Daya, near Boboka, Passigard. Do you know a Passigard? Passigard. I didn't know the show Pumamua, one of few horse cry, will be anti Mimpiano. Acron Fontio. Acron Fonti. It is Acron Fontia. You want to keep your house in a way that thieves cannot come and steal. Uko Dubai fear be anywhere. Passigard, David windows on one. Ubet me a be open to her. Maybe me put to her 3 weeks. Ama, Messa Coyano. Napon cry me. Mr. Bantama. Obedient, you want to be upon her. Upon a baby, no. Let's say, I knock at the door. If you listen and open me, I'll come in. You only keep something that stands the risk of being stolen or being taken away. As I start building my message, let your heart be in a state that nobody can take your heart away. They may take your wife away. They may take your relationship away. Watch this. They can take your position away from you. They can take your comfort away from you. but don't allow anybody to succeed into taking away your heart with them. Keep your heart with all diligence. Some other translation said, with diligence, protect your heart. With diligence, protect your heart. Which means that if you don't keep it with all diligence, somebody shall mess your heart up for nothing. The state of your heart. And we shall go into dimensions as we advance in the next few days. Keep your heart with all diligence. Don't let people take away your heart. They come into your life, they step out of your life, and you allow them to take your heart with them. One thing I say, wababe bu kwasia odusika ko de wadwuma ko okwa awasama ne kwan so mfo akomanko obetimi de akọ nanso mema makoma gina pinti. That people can throw you out of their jobs, but nobody throws you out of your heart. You shall be the full master of your heart. Control your heart. Mature beyond your age, mature beyond your wisdom, and let your heart be the driving force and the engine of your intellectual capacity, of your financial capacity, of your ministry. Let the state of your heart, some of you, your hearts are tattered, your hearts are bitter, your hearts are envious. There are some of you, everything about your heart is negative, but at the abundance of the hearts, the mind will speak. So mo bi kwan no ose wa koma o enya na o ha enya na onyo na o ha no o ha ho. So when you high blood pressure, now say when you diabetes in power, you have allowed them to break the authenticity of your heart. Let your heart be stable. I just want to drive you to a place of knowing that we live in a very crooked and a wicked world. And by the time you know, when I'm done with you, you realize that all that you should be expecting in life is betrayal. All that you should be expecting in life is how people are evil. All that you should be expecting in life is that there are unreasonable people. And whether you like it or not, you are going to encounter them. But regardless of what is done to you, keep your heart with all diligence. Never be a product of what they did to you. Your reaction shows maturity. Your reaction shows the state of your heart. So be do what na se udini bia. Munyina mo yepe. So be kan wasem na kan bia. Munyina mo yepe. So be say wona so say ni bia. Munyina mo yepe. Obi ko radio so di watem na o kan se manya no kre na o di watem na o say wo e na wo wie sika enti na yayi wo afri ba bia wo afri no se mi wie o sika kra o sika nyirai se me fa o me fa o bia dia wa dia nyirai. Forget about them. You see, if you are not very careful, when you have to concentrate on building the state of your heart, you shall concentrate on repairing the state of your heart, because everything will point to the destruction of your heart. But from today, put energy into it. Protect your heart with all diligence. Keep it. Don't let your heart be vulnerable. Let them say whatever they want to say, but let your heart be strong and perfect. Your strength, make them say, illustration. Refi do can say me chire me. Refi. Let's say that Dr. B was here in Ghana. And seeing him say, ensure when you put water in a cup and it's full, and you continue pouring it, what happens? It overflows. So there was a medical doctor here in Ghana. This medical doctor had a chronic kidney failure. And at a point, he was on dialysis. But some way, somehow, nothing was working. So he was retaining fluids. On him, every truth about this. So at the point that he lay there, his intellectual ability couldn't work for him. Another doctor comes, and somebody that was retaining water, he again put infusion on him, and instantly there was an overflow of water in his body and he had a cardiac arrest and died. So he didn't die because of the chronic kidney failure. He died because of the flood in his body. Now, there was also a doctor in the US who was a specialist in internal medicine. This guy also supposedly had a problem with his liver. He knew what he had to do and what he didn't have to do. And then he came to Ghana. They said they couldn't do a transplant. Nothing was working. Do you know he was sent to this place that he was given red egg, brown egg, and this water that I cannot mention. And all these things were poisonous, and he was dealing with a problem with his liver. And this man was very knowledgeable. That man was a specialist in internal medicine. There are times in your life that what you have learned can die by reason of the situation in which you are in. But if it is not about what you have learned, but it is about the state of your heart, then your heart now overflows above the state of your intellect. Let your heart be pure, even when your mind is struggling with you. Let your heart be stable. And I tell you, if you are able to bring yourself to this level and the state of your heart becomes intact, then I came to tell you, you are in to reap the good side of the issues of life. I pray that God brings us to a place where we shall not be vulnerable in hearts, but we shall be strong in our hearts. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues and the produce of life. Give the Lord a hand of praise.